What's up, guys? Andy Drifter here. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. I hope your day is going well. You may have heard me mention last week in one of my videos that I got 11 returns back from SGC, so I'm going to share them with you now. I'm actually going to break this up into two videos. I got to tell you, for the first time ever, I was disappointed by some of the grades that I got back. I'm going to let you check them out and tell me what you think. So the first card that I have for you is what I consider to be the first disappointment. This is a 2018 Panini Immaculate Collection Triple Patch Auto of Vladdy Jr. As you can see, the auto got a 10, but the overall grading was an 8.5. So apparently SGC didn't think this card was all too immaculate. Now that I look at it closer, I guess the upper right-hand corner could be a bit cleaner. But outside of that, I thought this card was top-notch. So I'm a bit disappointed at their grading. Needless to say, I'll respect it. Vladdy Jr. last year had a career season. He finished second in the MVP voting. He led the league in runs, home runs, on-base percentage, slugging, OPS, and total bases. This year, his stats went down a little bit, as did the value of some of his cards. He still had 32 home runs and 97 RBI with an 818 OPS. The Blue Jays made an appearance in the playoffs, albeit they had an early exit. But yeah, that's the first card that I have for you. Again, tell me what you think. Do you think SGC's evaluation was fair or not? As you can see, SGC passed up on grading this 1960 Fleer Lou Gehrig card, and the reason being was due to evidence of trimming. Lou Gehrig, one of the greatest Yankees of all time. I think sometimes, especially amongst the younger generation, his name gets lost in terms of one of the greatest to don the pinstripes. 14 full seasons in the big leagues, 17 seasons overall, a 7-time World Series champ, 2-time MVP. He had 8 top 5 MVP finishes, the Triple Crown winner in 1934, and 6 seasons with over 150 RBI. At one point, he did hold the consecutive games played record, 2,130. Of course, that was broken by Cal Ripken. I believe that was, 96, I want to say? But Gehrig, he was an amazing player. Yes, he played in a different time, but he is one of the best. And who knows what his numbers could have been had his career not been cut short by illness. But yeah, there it is, a 1960 Fleer Lou Gehrig card, and it wasn't graded at all. Let's stay with the Yankees, shall we? This card, I'm happy to say, came back as a 10. This is a 2022 Gypsy Queen Field of Dreams variant of Giancarlo Stanton. This is one of those cards that I pulled very early on in my Gypsy Queen breaks, and I didn't initially realize what I had. What I do once a month or once every 2 months, I'll go through all my base cards just to see if I missed anything. And after pulling so many base cards of Stanton, where he's wearing the pinstripes, when I came across this, I realized I had something special. I sent it off to SGC, and they thought it was special too, and they gave it a 10. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Giancarlo Stanton and the Hall of Fame. Let's talk about that. He's coming off one of the worst years of his career. He did have 31 home runs and 78 ribbies, but he only batted .211, and he missed 52 games. Every year he misses 20, 30 games at least. He's just very injury prone. Now, however, he did make an All-Star team, and he won the All-Star MVP. As far as his chances of getting into Cooperstown, as of right now, they're non-existent. But I do think he has a chance to get in. He just turned 33 years old, and he's got 5 more years on his contract. Let's say, for the sake of argument, he finishes out those 5 years in the Bronx, and he gets to 500 home runs. He makes an impact in a postseason, which results in the Yankees winning a World Series, and he has 1 more top 10 MVP finish to go along with the 2 that he already has. Mind you, he won the MVP in 2017 when he hit 59 home runs. He checks all 3 of those boxes. I think that could open up the discussion for him getting into the Hall of Fame. Never been tied to PEDs. He's a fan favorite. He's one of my favorite players. Yeah, he strikes out a ton, but when he gets a hold of one, it is something else to watch. I mean, this guy hits bombs. So, we will see what happens in the upcoming years. Hopefully, he can stay healthy. Like I said before, that has been an ongoing issue in his career. In his 13 years in the big leagues, he's only had 6 of them where he finished playing in 120 games or more. He is a 5-time All-Star. There it is. Field of Dreams variant came back as a 10 of Giancarlo Stanton. Let's switch on over to the NFL. This here is a 2021 Donruss Optic Red Hyper Prism rated rookie of Jags quarterback Trevor Lawrence. He was the #1 overall pick of the 2021 draft. I'm very pleased to say that SGC deemed this card as a 9.5. T-Law, his performance this year has been exponentially better compared to last year. 11 TDs versus 6 interceptions. He is in the top 10 in yards and touchdowns amongst quarterbacks. Last year, he finished the year with 12 touchdowns and 17 interceptions. But this year, with the addition of Christian Kirk, who you could say is his #1 target, he is 3rd in the league with 5 touchdowns, and he is well on pace to have his first 1,000 yards receiving season. He is the fresh acquisition from the Arizona Cardinals, so he is emerging as one of the better wide receivers in the league. The Jags, they are 3-6 this year, but keep in mind those 6 losses were all by 8 points or less. So they are putting up good performances in each game, and who knows? They might finish off 8-9, 9-8. Could that be good enough to grab a wild card spot? I don't know. I mean, they still have a lot of issues to work out, but it looks like they are on track. You know, people are so quick to give up on quarterbacks after 1 year. You know, it's a process. I mean, you look at Peyton Manning's first year. You look at Aaron Rodgers' first year. You know, obviously over time they got better and better. One's in the Hall of Fame. Aaron Rodgers, whenever he hangs it up, he'll be in the Hall of Fame as well. So Trevor Lawrence, he's on the right path. They got Doug Peterson, a Super Bowl winning head coach, who is doing much better than Urban Meyer. And it looks like Christian Kirk might make his first Pro Bowl. This card here is an absolute beauty. And there it is. Red Hyper Prism rated rookie variant of Trevor Lawrence. Now this card here is by far the biggest disappointment that I got from SGC this time around. This is a 2020 Donruss Optic Pat Tillman Downtown card. These Downtown cards are highly coveted. I would say the raw value of this card is somewhere in the $1,000 range. I thought for sure this card was going to come back as a 10, but it came back as a 9. For those of you that are newer to the SGC PSA grading, there is a substantial difference between a 10 and a 9. As a 9, I don't think this card is worth any more. It's still probably in the $1,000 range. I thought for sure this was going to come back as a 10. I looked at this card, or I looked over this card with a fine-tooth comb. It looked pristine, but SGC thought otherwise. Pat Tillman played 4 seasons in the NFL. He was a DB for the Cardinals, but he decided to retire early after 9/11 and enroll in the Army, along with his brother Kevin. In 2004, he died in the mountains of Afghanistan. At first, the news reported that he fell victim to enemy fire, but it turned out that he was shot by one of his own, so he was a victim of friendly fire. After his death, he was awarded the Silver Star as well as the Purple Heart, and he was eventually inducted into the Cardinals Ring of Honor. A man of supreme integrity, to cut his promising career in the NFL short to fight for his country. very appropriate to show this card as Veterans Day is around the corner. So there it is. It's still a beautiful card. I love it. This is always going to stay in my PC. But, yeah, I don't know what the issue is. Perhaps some of you, if you're watching, could inform me and tell me what I'm missing. But, yeah, that's the last card that I have for you in this first half of my SGC submissions. I want to thank you so much for taking the time out to watch this video. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. And part 2 will be going down in a few hours. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you again.